triads on the first 4 strings, again in D flat major. So we've already covered D flat, the 1 chord. We've covered this and its inversions and voicings, and we've covered this as well, the C diminished, the 7 chord. Okay, and we went through the procedures of taking the top voice, then the middle 2, and then the bottom. So what we're going to do now is transform to figure out the rest of the chords in the diatonic system. That is the minors primarily, and of course the other majors. So how we're going to do that is 2 ways. I mean, there's many ways to do this, but let's do them according to the least amount of movement. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on the 1 chord, the D flat, and I'm going to move the root to the next nearest scale tone. So I'm going to move D flat to C. That gives me F minor. So any D flat chord I have, it doesn't matter, I just move the root down to C, and I've got F minor. So again, this gives me my whole system. I've got D flat here, I move it down, I've got D flat here, move the D flat, etc. And these will be very familiar to all of you probably, I'm sure. So any of these chords, it doesn't matter. That's nice as well, that one. This. Now if there are 2 D flats in a chord, you move both of them, obviously. Like in this case, there's an octave, I move them both. Okay. Otherwise we get another type of sound, which we'll deal with later. Okay. So that's D flat to F minor, just by moving a tone. We keep moving the root. So the F minor chord, we move the F to E flat. That gives us the 5 chord, A flat. So again, doesn't matter where we are on the board, any F minor, you move the root, and you've got an A flat chord. Here's an F minor, there's this, yeah, you got this, there's your F minor, A flat, etc. F minor, A flat. Okay, so now we're at A flat, the 5 chord. Again, we move the root. So we move the root to G flat, and this gets us back to the C diminished. We've already covered that, so we're just going to continue. I move the C to B flat. I get an E flat minor, so from C diminished, I get E flat minor by moving the C, the root, to the B flat. Same thing, any C diminished, we do that procedure. We've got the F minor. The E flat minor. Now from that we move the root. So E flat, the root moves to D flat, we give a G flat chord. So now we've got a 4 chord. Okay. We keep doing that. We move G flat to the note F, and we've got B flat minor. So here's a G flat, there's a B flat minor, here's a G flat, there it is. And then from there, we move the B flat to A flat, and we're back home at the 1 chord. And if you notice, the pattern is in thirds. D flat. It's funny because the chords go down, but the progression goes up. So this is D flat, move up a third to F minor, up a third to A flat, going to C. This is diminished, E flat minor, G flat, B flat minor, and back to D flat. Same holds true for the other parts of the string transference, the other parts of the chords. So if I start here on D flat, I do the same thing. Nice F minor. I move down to A flat. I do the same thing. I move to C diminished. I move to E flat minor. I move to G flat minor, B flat minor, and then back home to D flat. It doesn't matter where I start, I get the same result. Now the other way you can go is actually backwards but upwards. So in other words, instead of taking the root of each chord and moving it, I'll start at D flat again. I'll move the 5th, which is A flat. That gives me my B flat minor. So I can get to the 6th chord just by moving the 5th to the 6th. I do it again. So the 5th is F, I move it to G flat. I have a G flat chord. Okay. Now I move the 5th of that chord, D flat to E flat. And again, if you've got a voicing with 2 5ths in it, do D flats, move them both. There's your E flat minor. So all of those work. All right. And now we move the 5th, the B flat. Okay. the same thing, and now we're getting to C diminished, so we're doing the same thing. It's exactly the same each time. So now we're at a diminished chord by moving, by altering the E flat minor. Then we move the fifth of that, and we get an A flat. And then we move again, and we get to an F minor. And then we move again, and we get back to D flat major. So that sequence was D flat, moving the fifth, up to B flat, moving the fifth, moving the fifth, E flat, G flat to B to E flat, move the fifth again, C diminished, A flat, moving the fifth, G flat to A flat, going to F minor, moving the fifth of the E flat to F, and then we're back home. So the chords go up but down as opposed to the other way. What's interesting about this is then you can start to think about replacements, obviously. So you have this D flat chord and you put an F minor, you move, but you keep the D flat in the bass, and obviously you've got a D flat major 7. What's nice about the triads in this case is that you can really get some interesting sounds by just using them as replacements for 7th chords. So for instance, this is an E flat minor. You put a C in the bass, and it's a C minor 7 flat 5, diminished. And then that's an F7, this one. So this would be just by moving the one tone. Notice the B flat moves to the A. So we had this. And we move the diminished, and then we move to a D flat up top. It's a B flat minor 7, only it's a D flat triad on top. Okay, so in a nutshell, those are two separate ways to approach getting the rest of the system, the rest of the diatonic chords, and to get them very easily. There's a very minimum of voice motion that it takes to get these, very logical. Plus, they work in terms of function. For instance, like we just said, you know, a D flat and an F minor together is a D flat major 7. An F minor and an A flat together is an F minor 7. An A flat and a C diminished together is an A flat dominant 7, etc. So if you take this all the way across, it works functionally. Additionally, we all know that 1 and 6 are sort of the same. They have a similar sound. Okay, so for instance, if we go the opposite direction, we get the relatives that way. So we have D flat and B flat minor, and you can move the G flat, and again, E flat minor, C. Notice that there's very little voice motion. I'll play that example again. Very little. And again, start on each of the different types of voicings. So whatever the voicing is, start here. And then move. G flat. You'll get all the different options. E flat, C diminished. And you'll find the patterns. A flat, F minor, and then D flat. Okay? So that basically rounds out the basic chords for the diatonic system on the first 4 strings, and then through string transference, again on the, this would be the 2, 3, 4, 6 string families.